Howdy. This is Blue Otter. Today we're going to be looking at Megaquarium, specifically the Architect collection. For this, I'm going to focus specifically on the Architect collection. You are able to turn on and off the different DLCs. I'm going to turn off the deep freeze because there is something in Freshwater Frenzy that I do want to showcase in this one. Other than that, everything's going to be on. I do want unlimited money because I just don't want to deal with that. We're going to keep care requirements and equipment breakdowns on just so I have everything there. But we are turning off all the side objectives, trades, and merchants just because I want to focus specifically on this. Everything is unlocked, so we are going to start our game. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. This is the standard setup that you get for every Sandbox game, and I want to open it up because I want to do one of two things. I want to come over here and we're going to do a we're going to do, just to keep space, we're going to do two Megaquarium tanks, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to put all my tropical fish on the left, all my cold water fish on the right. And now on to the speed build. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the cold water section. I decided to have two tanks in here. First a tunnel tank, and then I will move the mega tank over where I'm going to expand the cold water area just a little bit so that I can accommodate that larger tank where the sea crabs are. Those are, they do get up to be 80, and I needed 5 of them, so I needed at least 400 room for them. So one of the things I like to do with this is I like to have all of the equipment daisy chained together. But what I've been doing mostly, especially towards the end of Megalopolis and onto the other rooms, is I try to have a central location, or even better yet, a side area that I can, and I do this right here, where I can move all of that equipment out, the filters, the nitrates, the UV lights, all that goes in there. And I can have little mechanics going around roaming there and making sure that everything is working in a functional shape. So that allows you to put down just a couple of toolboxes and then we're done. So I have a mic set here, and then I realized, okay, I need a mic set. Well, the Architect has that laser pointer, which is what I just put down. And that is a feature that it amplifies the mic's ability to work. And I just use the power pump and add just a little bit more chilling to the tanks. Where this one I just had, and that is where I daisy chained it together. I did use that much larger cave for the crabs because I felt like the crabs are going to get large enough that could justify using that large cave. Now here I did. I was restricted because one of those fish has to have like a 2x2, or a couple of them have to have a 2x2, so I really didn't want to mess with it too much. And then in here I decide that we're going to kind of show off this new seating area that comes with the Architect collection. And at first I'm not too thrilled with the colors. It does work well. But these are colorable, so that is a game changer on that. And then one of the things that it has is it has these little hidden trash cans that you can put in and hide them away. And I put like kind of a little small food court in there. And I want to put a sign, but I don't really have a whole lot of room because I'd like them to be able to see the sign and walk in front of the sign. So that way as many people can get up to the glass as possible to see the aquarium. So I do just kind of move and shift everything over one, and then add that little one left, or that little wall. And then I add a mic platform, and that pretty much seals off the cold water section. I decided I did want to have, for reasons of crowd control, I did want to make sure that I possibly had the ability to control where people go. So it does kind of force you to go through the tunnel tank. You're going to explore around, and then you're going to exit out this way, and this leads into our gift shop. So this is a little small gift shop where I just put down one of everything that I can, and then I'm going to build a little warehouse back here that allows me to have people working can go back there and grab whatever they need to, and it is right there at the gift shop. So here I am placing out all the fish that I have in succinct tanks, and which tanks I want to have them in. This is the decorator crab, and I do try to fit all 4 because it does have to have soft coral. I do try to fit all the coral in there, only to realize that he needs rocks and a plant, and so I end up having to remove 2 and replace it with a rock and a sea lettuce. And then that's me just kind of adjusting. I do like to keep almost continually rotating the camera, so I apologize if that makes anyone dizzy. Part of that is just because then I'm constantly evaluating what can go where and how everything looks from different sides. So that sunfish needs at least 600 because it is considered an active swimmer. And then I am just putting anything that doesn't have an issue with people or with other fish that can go into a communal tank, just went into that large tank. And that was pretty much the big tank. Now the Napoleon wrasse is he's a big fish. He gets to be up to 80. He takes a good sized chunk. I believe that Belfast tank is considered 90 as its size, and he gets to be 80. So he's a big fish. And the problem with him is that he will eat small fish. And so if I want to keep my small fish, then I can't have him. And this is where I'm wanting to do something specific with the sawtooth fish here. And so this is I spent a bit of time trying to finagle and figure out a way that I can make these 2 aquariums work side by side. I didn't really want it to be like where you walked in and boom, here's all the big tanks. I wanted it to be something where you have a little bit of, here's this tank and then here's this tank, and so you've got a little bit of room. So I'm going to open it up a little bit, and for what I really want to do with this tank is I really wanted to kind of show off something special about the sawtooth fish and the fact that it can go into both salt and freshwater. So a lot of this is just coordinating what's going to go where. I am making a separate room for each one. So that way they are not because I didn't want it to be, again, that you walk in and suddenly boom, you've got access to everything, you can see all the fish. I really wanted to allow each fish to have their own specific focus, and I do go in here and move the little one-way signs. Now these I don't know if this, I don't remember if this was a quality of life update or if this was just, and this is where I like to, if I can, I'm not going to put a thick wall. I'm going to have a thin wall so that way I have more space possibly for backstage stuff. But that little gate is set so it has like a green triangle on one side and then a circle with a line through it on the other. So while your staff can do either way, your staff can go through whichever way they need to complete their assigned tasks, the guests are restricted. So once you enter, they have to go back, and they to leave, they have to go back through the gift shop. So it forces them to go into the gift shop. And this is where I'm really trying to see if the porthole, now this porthole came with the tank or the architect collection, and it really adds some nice dimension. And when you see it on the tour, it is it really gives some distinction, especially to that Napoleon wrasse. But I do decide that it's really a bit too small for him, so I end up giving him 2 portholes, and I give him a little bit bigger tank just because I felt like he needed it. But he would have been fine in the other one. It just would have been a tight fit. Now this is the sawtooth fish, and like I said, it can go into either salt or freshwater. But he does have to have a 3x3 square that allows you to that he has to have free. So I did have to take out that bogwood forest. So the bogwood does add acidity to the water, but if you remember from Freshwater Frenzy, it's as long as the acidity doesn't exceed the amount of space you've got in there, then you're fine, and it's considered neutral. So this is, because he is freshwater, and this is the only freshwater tank I have, I really have to hook it up with some good filtration, because it's on its own. You cannot you can't mix a saltwater and freshwater filtrations. And I do put the supplement and the crab right there, but I move it because they're the same fish, they can share. And then I use this larger pump to attach all of the tanks. Now, the smaller tanks, you do kind of have to get in as an angle if you do have those the roofs on there, because it will it covers up the hitbox that you need. And these are the arches. I did use the plain arch, but there are several different arches. There are arches with flags. There is that thick arch that is what I'm using, and then there are also flat arches. And this is where I have to remove those 2 soft corals and add the rock and the lettuce. And the eels don't necessarily care for plants, but the guests are like, oh, he must be bored, and then they give you a bad evaluation because they think they know better about the fish. The fish, those guys don't really care, but they do have to have 4 is the only requirement that they have. All my fish right now appear unhappy just because I haven't, at that point, I really haven't done too much with the filtration. And then that was just, I needed a little bit more heat, and I had to use those 2 side panels to do that. So with that, I'm going through and putting in some different food. And one of the things that I do like to, and here's where I start adding, and I made a little small employee room. You still can't put in more than 2. You can't put more than 1 sign. So I do like to try to cover up as much as I can. So if I need to, if I don't need the extra space, I will close it back in. And then I have the, I like having it where you've got like the 6 pillars, and then you have the Neptune or Poseidon. I guess it would really be Poseidon because Poseidon was Greek. Neptune would be Roman. And then adding in some different features. These are more for the people. And I'll go back through and I will remove those benches later. And I do decide that here I need to make sure I've got some bathrooms and making sure that my staff have adequate doors to be able to always easily access their whatever they need to access. And here is the fun part where I have had issues before where I never seem to have enough zooplankton or lungfish to feed these the golden jacks. They do require at least 6, and they are considered wingmen. So they like to hang out with big fish that have to be at least 30, which the sunfish does not start out at 30. So, and then here I am just giving my employees some basic equipment, setting up some podiums for them to do talks with, and then setting up the talks for specifically what kind of fish I want to do. The only animals I have in this aquarium that do not come with the pack are the mushroom disco and the daisy polyps that are with the decorator crab, and that is strictly because there's my little dress-up room, and that's strictly because the decorator crab required a soft coral and there was no soft coral that came with this pack. So here I am going through and trying to set up with the employees, but I ultimately don't keep up with it, just because I'm gonna have a couple that are really high level, and then I'm just gonna go with sheer volume, and I end up later dismissing some of the workers. That was when I realized that he was an explorer and he needed some extra stuff to keep him happy, because explorer fish like to have things to do, things to look at. And then this is where I'm trying to fit as many of the little backpacks as I can. I give them a little walk around for the back, and I go through and I try to I start organizing some of the staff here, just so that they will try to, but it's honestly almost too much, because again, I have unlimited money, so I could hire everybody that comes in and give them a job, and this was about volume over having everything completely optimized. If you're going to have this optimized, you could probably do this with you would probably need at least a dozen or so employees minimum, but I tend to over hire my workers, and then I'm just trying to accessorize as many as I can and work towards, and then I just start hiring, and I never go back and arrange for anybody to do anything. So I do have it open now that all of the aquariums are functional, and I'm letting the game run because I would need these fish to grow up before I do my tour. So one of the things I'm going to do is, in the meantime, is I'm going to go through and start coloring everything I can. So these are specifically the Greek 1, 2, and 3. I don't remember which one is which, but I do try to make sure that everything is colored, and kind of gives a little bit of distinction between areas. This is the gift shop, and I particularly like that one, the wall painting. I find the floor to be a little too busy for the general, but overall I really like it. And then just going through and clicking and misclicking. And then I choose to replace these the benches with different different colors, so they are absolutely paintable. And it kind of gives a little bit of a distinction. And with that, we're able to then paint, and it gives a longer bench. So you could theoretically have a bench span an entire wall, all around the walls. And then I really start speeding it up because I have to get to, I believe it's day 60 something, for the sunfish to be fully grown. And I will reach a point where I'm done, and you know, I've got to wait for everyone to grow up. So in the meantime, as to some of these fish, when I started, it's like they don't really care, as long as they've got open space or they have this bare minimum requirement, then they're fine. So I can go back in as long as their tank is functional. Then I don't mind hitting them onto fast speed. All right, so I am just waiting for everyone to finish leveling up, and the aquarium is effectively done. It's just a matter of waiting for everybody to finish growing up. I'm going to do some management. I am continually checking that sunfish because the sunfish does take a long time, and that is 10 days and then 28 days. I do have a couple of issues that come up with equipment that breaks down and does need to be repaired, and that, so you'll see like the little indicators going off with the heaters. They're not getting enough heat, and it's entirely because of that. So I do check the problems to see if there's any fish that are having problems, and that's when I realized that the Picasso fish is also an explorer, so I have to go and add a couple of items to his aquarium so that he can be happy as well. And with that marks the end of really all the problems that I have, aside from just needing a little bit more heat. I do add a couple more heaters, and I will add some more filtration, but a lot of this is overall just waiting for them to level up. And I'm trying to go through and click through as many of my staff as possible to get them level up as well. So I do go through, and during this time I'm going to be making a few adjustments here and there. Nothing really major, That was actually, I believe, the jungle color, but I did like it, so I decided to keep it anyway. And then I'm just adding in some more finishing touches as we go. That is actually the color that goes with the paint that's in the gift shop, is that orange seat. You can kind of tell based off of the trim of what it matches. And then when I have a little bit of spare time, I just go through and I'm clicking through. This is a much faster way that I found than going through and clicking through all the messages, because the messages you click, you add, and I did miss, I overextended some of the accessories and I didn't have all of the accessories, and this is when I kind of remove a few staff, but I really don't trim enough to make a difference. And then I want to make sure that I have some backup filtration, so I give them a little bit more filtration. And I've got 17 more days until that sunfish finishes growing. And that golden jack, just, it needs that lungfish. It's a specialty. I will go through here and create a small work zone. I don't typically do a lot of work zones, but when I do, it's usually because there's a very specific location that I really need some of my top workers to focus on. And so then I will hand select my best workers for that one area. So I only have one work zone in this entire facility. But if I were building this from scratch, then I would be able to systematically build each one. I decided to go in and add a little bit more as we're waiting for this tank to grow. Now, one thing that this tank you have to be careful of is the fact that, because you can't see that front layer, or that front space, you put it on the other side and that can cut into your available space. So for this one in particular, that sunfish does require at least a 4x4, and then this is where I decide that to enter or exit, we really need to have an archway included. And then we are still waiting, and I am preparing that I'm going to, when the time comes, I will go through and actually close the aquarium so that when I tour, I don't have to deal with having all of the people in my way or someone that just steps right there, because I find that kind of annoying, especially when you get to have large amounts of people. So I do wait, and then when I do close it, everyone starts filtering out. You will notice that they will they just go out the fastest way possible. And we are back. Okay, so we are ready to tour the architect collection. We have a nice Poseidon or Neptune, depending if you want to go Greek or Roman. Come over here. We have those hidden trash cans, a coffee machine, one of the nice chairs. This is with the Greek wave, which we'll see in the gift shop. I did close the aquarium, so this is a private tour. So I like that you come in here and you have this kind of Greek Parthenon with the columns, and go straight into the where is it? There it is, the gift shop. So we have our cold water on this side and our tropical on that side. we're going to start with the cold water. So come over here, you have a science plaque. You can come over here, grab one of these guidebooks, and then be able to take a brief tour through here, where we have our John Dory. We have the sea needle and the tub Grunarb. Right there. And then we have our science poster, more books. As you come over here, and you can see the Japanese crabs that okay, I had 5 of them in there. Probably what happened is somebody grew up a little faster and ate his buddies. But let's go in here real quick. Look at how big those are. So this is the Megaquarium on the smallest scale. And before we go through there, let's take a quick look through the back. So here we do have the toilets available for guests, and then we have a very tight-knit, tightly packed equipment, as well as being able to come up here. Only thing I can guess is that, yeah, someone decided they got hungry. Now this is the tunnel aquarium. Now one thing that's really interesting to note is that here you have the mic headset, and there's also a couple of accessories. You've seen a few of them. This one comes with a laser pointer that boosts the mic headset. And then there is the octopus, where it kind of boosts the interaction with when they interact with guests. Now I do only have my staff in here, so I did overpay for having staff in, and yeah, that was how I did. There was something, hold on, there was something back here. Oh, those 2 accessories. So the employee costume and the laser pointer were accessories that came with the pack. So here is one of our speakers, and he does not have the laser pointer, so see, he did not keep my attention. And I used these because I was really trying to control the flow. So you would come in through the tank here, and then you'd see these 2 tanks, and then you'd come out here, and it empties out into the gift shop. So you come over here, you can buy a Megaquarium t-shirt, you can buy a book. I've got another set of restrooms right there. This is one of the Greek paintings. This is the hermit crab. This is the little plushie that comes with it, that comes with the architect collection. Here are the Megaquarium plushies, a little copper band, and then the shark hat. And then because this has the little circle with the line through it, guests cannot go this way. They have to go out. So maybe they have a pass where they can do cold water side only, or maybe they can do only tropical, or maybe they can get a day pass and they can get both. So here is our Picasso fish that I didn't realize right away that he's an explorer, so he has to have a lot of different stuff in here. He, I believe, has to be by himself as far as his own type, but other than that, he's fine. And I do have over here with the staff, they can quickly dart through here because I like that. These are backpacks for them to use, and this is all the equipment because we have a special indication. So we've got a science here, and what's interesting about this is that sawtooth, and you'll notice this is a freshwater aquarium, so pretty cool. But every fish in here is a saltwater, So where is he in saltwater? Glad you asked. Here he is in a saltwater habitat. He's moving. So this is considered brackish. It can go either way. It does have a little indicator, so you can see both of them. Now I did have to, because he was on his own, I did have to make sure that he is on his own separate system, which that little room over there has all the rest of his equipment, but I needed just a little bit more heat, so he had an extra heater that got placed there. All of these animals did require specialty feeding, so there was really no use in trying to do the auto feeders, because the auto feeders don't work on specialty. So we'll come back over here. And again, I've got restrooms. This is that thematic one where you are able to kind of really hide the doors. I mean, at a glance, you're going to have trouble seeing the doors. I mean, aside from the big restroom sign, but the handle is the only thing that really gives it away. I believe this is actually what the jungle paint looks like. I did not realize it until I painted the one in the front room. But there are a couple of other paints. I just stuck with as much of the Greek as I could. But I did like this in this color in here, so I decided to keep it. This is that hoplite shield. And you do get these nice arches. So these thin arches, they do have a couple of other varieties, some that are flat and ones that have flags. You get these cool little portholes. Look at how big he is. So yeah, another book. And then here we have the peacock mantis shrimp that is right there. And the decorator crab, which is, oh cool, look at how he's got his stuff decorated on himself. So he's got a little bit of things that are round. So he's got that discus mushroom and the daisy star polyp, which are the only animals or the only living creatures that I added that are from the base game, because the decorator crab does require at least one soft coral, but he also requires a rock and a plant. So that's why I have the sea lettuce and the rock. Otherwise, I had all four of the soft corals available. Now, since we could honestly, we go through here, and as a guest, once we go through these doors, we can't come back. So going through our private tours, we do have a little bit of area here. I don't really have much room other than like right here that I could put anything. And I didn't want this to be as cramped as I'll get out. Now, this one also required lights because of the soft coral, not because of the crab. The crab did not require. And then this goes up to our Picasso triggerfish, who's right there, hiding in the kelp bed. Okay. And then this is our garden eels. They're just chilling, head bobbing right there. Looks like I only see 3 of them. There should be 4. Maybe I guess they go into that little hole. Now, one thing that I've seen also that is doable is, because like right here, you can see into the back. So some people will add walls to the back of their aquariums. And then, here, let me really quickly, let me come over here and show you what I could do with that. So what I could do is come over here and do just a quick wall here, there, and we're going to right there. Yeah, we could do like so. And then we could even add, just for further, just a And I missed a Greek paint right there. So one thing you could do is then you could have some fun with painting different colors, and this would allow you to have possibly different backdrops, different color palettes on the walls. Like so. And then so when you come in, you really can't see. All you can see is just the aquarium itself, and you don't really see anything. I mean, you can see the door, but especially with the hidden door, you can't really see it. So with that, we have this big boy that is the parrotfish, the steep head parrotfish, and he is by himself just because he will eat everything that's basically smaller than him, which in this pack is pretty much everything. So I had to keep him by himself, and he is an explorer, so he did have to have some different things in there with him. He had to have a variety of items in there with him. And I could probably continue and put the porthole side on this. There are a couple of other different, but I didn't use everything I had, just enough to build a small aquarium. So there's the balloons. These are some blocks that came with the, as part of the Greek theme. And then this is one of the benches. So I gave a nice long bench here. We have our science, or our ecology, because we do have a lot of animals. This is our community tank. And then I've got this large vase as a decoration. This one could probably also go in there. And then when we come over here, we get to see our nice large community tank that has our surge wrasse, which is the kind of the light blue. You have the Oriental Sweet Lips, is that one with the stripes. The Golden Jack, I believe, is this yellow one. And then the Sunfish is right there in just swimming around, and he is buddies with everyone. Or is that the... I bet that, no, I bet this is that's the, yeah, we're gonna come back over here, because this is, okay, yeah, okay, I was mistaken. Yeah, we're gonna go out the in, or in the out. This, I take it back, this is the Napoleon wrasse. This is the parrothead steepfish. We're gonna come in here and look at him. It's that one that is down there in the corner in the red. That is the steephead parrotfish. And there is the jacks that are clipping through the sunfish. So the Sunfish was actually one of the bases, I believe, in Subnautica 2, where they go and they're called Titan fish. So you go down, but they look very similar to this, but instead of a big mass on their body, they actually are shaped more like a donut. And in the very center is an oxygen belt, is an air bubble, and that's one of the ways that you can breathe underwater is by collecting that oxygen. So we are done swimming in our tank. I do like the fact that this is a little bit deep. There's at least one modded tank that does have this depth, but does it on the regular deep tanks. So really quickly, here is, I just need a little bit more heat for these guys. So here is the Napoleon wrasse. Again, he would just eat everything, so that's why he's by himself. I'm sure there are other fish that you could place him with, especially maybe some of the sharks. But he was going to eat just about anything that I put with him in this aquarium. So for here, we did have to, this probably is overkill, but it may look like overkill, but this is honestly kind of the setup you have to feed those golden jacks, because they eat the lugworm, and the lugworm has to be fed by zooplankton, and then other things eat the zooplankton, and it messes everything. Y'all need to go find something to do. I know a lot of y'all are idle because I overhired, but y'all need to, and I know we have unlimited funds. So really quickly, so this is the big tank that we have, and they just swim around. Now the mola does require rounded edges, as does the sawtooth, and you can see the sawtooth is over there in the corner. And with that, we've got one more place to visit. Now we've already been through that hallway in the back. See, they're taking more zooplankton. So see, still don't have enough zooplankton back there. That if you're a guest, that's where you're gonna go. But if you're an employee, this is one door that you can come in, and these are the laser pointers that I was talking about. And here I just have some sponges, some brooms, so we have something to wash. You come out here, step right out, because if you've watched the rest of the series, you know I love having almost as many doors as I can. It provides employees with easy access. I have all this food that they have. This is the now when I prefer to, if I can, this is how I kind of prefer to do my equipment setup. My equipment is all set up in one central location, and then I can set this as a work zone for my fixers. And so here is where we kind of have, it looks like I've got an extra belt. I was putting down some tools. I typically don't use enough tools, but I did kind of want to show off at least the octopus. Okay, so now really quickly, this door, you go through here, it cuts into the gift shop. This door cuts into the backstage room, where we have all of our supplies. This is the box for the little hermit crab plushies. And then this is kind of like the dressing room for those that have the octopus. I would build this more organically, and so this would kind of be more of I'd hire someone to do talks and give them the mic, versus the mass hiring that I did. And with that brings our architect collection to a close. So we will be back with Deep Freeze in the next episode. Thank you for watching.